Did you know a third of United States eligible voters didn't vote in 2020? That's about 80 million people's voices left unheard and unable to influence the direction of the country, according to December 2020 article by political editor Domenico Montanaro on NPR.org. Voting is a key democratic process that allows citizens to choose their leaders and influence government decisions. It involves casting a ballot in elections to select representatives or decide on specific issues, ensuring that the government and its policies reflect the interests and will of the people. Voting impacts everyone and their lives, as it helps determine what laws and whose agendas we live under. Despite barriers and disillusionment to voting, people should vote more because it influences everyone through electing representatives who shape the policies we live under. In this speech, I'll be discussing low voter turnout and its implications, why people don't vote, and what we all can do to promote voting. Millions of eligible voters aren't voting and miss out on an impactful process that can benefit them and people around them. According to the July 2023 article by Hannah Hartig, Andrew Daniller, Scott Keeter, and Ted Van Green on pewresearch.org, only 66% of the eligible voter population turned out for the 2020 presidential election. The midterm elections of 2018 and 2022 had 49% and 46% turnout, respectively. What is there to lose by not voting? The undated, unauthored article on apia.vote.org argues why voting matters. Elections impact your everyday life and family, including school resources, road reparations, public transportation, healthcare, job security, salaries, taxes, crime prevention, gun safety, immigration law, the list goes on. These aspects are determined by the people voted into local, state, and federal offices. Voting provides the opportunity to voice opinions and choose representatives who will make decisions on our behalf. By casting a vote, you have a chance to select leaders who align with your values and who will work towards addressing what matters most to you, your family, and your community. In another undated, unauthored article on education.nationalgeographic.org, it's noted that the popular vote directly elects members of Congress, while the Electoral College elects the president. Although the president isn't determined by popular vote, it influences where Electoral College votes are allocated to. 48 states and Washington, D.C. have winner-take-all systems in which the state's popular vote gets the state's electoral votes. Therefore, every vote matters in electing the officials that govern our country and carry out our interests. By not partaking in voting, many Americans lose out on an important democratic process that affects many aspects of their lives. Why don't a million Americans vote? What's responsible for the lack of voter turnout? Editor Leah Rodriguez reveals why people in the U.S. don't vote in her article on globalcitizen.org, published in September 2020. 15% of registered voters didn't vote because they didn't believe their vote would make a difference. In the October 2020 article by reporters Amelia Thompson-DeVue, Jasmine Mithani, and Laura Bronner on projects.538.com, the reasons why many Americans don't vote are laid out. Through surveying, they found that many people who never vote and people who sometimes vote chose not to vote because of the following. No matter who wins, nothing will change for them. They didn't like any of the candidates. The system is too broken to be fixed by voting. They don't believe in voting. And voting doesn't matter because of where they live. In the same article, barriers to voting also influenced whether or not people voted. These include waiting more than an hour to vote, being unable to get off work as election days are on Tuesdays and aren't considered holidays, being unable to access polling places, and difficulties with identification and registration. Factors like race, age, and socioeconomic status can also impact whether or not a person votes. Various laws and structural systems, from limited early voting windows to ID restrictions, disproportionately impacts people of color. For people with lower incomes, getting a new ID can be unaffordable, missing work isn't always an option, and they're more likely to move, which adds another step of paperwork to register. Now that you know why people can't vote, how can you alleviate low voter turnouts? The most simple and straightforward way to increase voter turnout is to vote. Start by registering online on registertovote.ca.gov. Ensure you meet Ensure that you meet the requirements to vote, such as age, citizenship, and residency. Educate yourself about the candidates, parties, and ballot measures to make informed decisions that match your interests. Locate your designated polling station or check for options like early voting sites or mail-in ballot drop-off locations. Go to your polling place, make sure you bring needed registration and identification, and fill out and submit your ballot. If you want to vote by mail, ensure you follow all the guidelines for returning your ballot on time. If you are unable to vote, there are other ways to help increase turnout. You can encourage others like your family and friends to vote and educate them about the important impact it has on their lives. You can also promote voting through social media, at community events, at businesses, and other public places with digital or physical flyers. Be sure to include clear steps on how to participate in elections. With various barriers to voting, you can advocate for easier voting methods and reach out to various counties for more extended early voting periods, accessible polling places, and options for mail-in or absentee ballots. You are now equipped with the causes and solutions to low voter turnout, so let's review. Despite obstacles and the feelings of disillusionment, it is crucial for people to vote more, as their participation impacts everyone by determining elected officials who influence policy and govern our lives. This, caused by barriers and personal political views, low voter turnout can be solved by voting and promoting it to others, ensuring that the government and its policies reflect the communities it serves. As you leave today, remember the impact you can all have on your life and others around you, and be sure to vote this fall 2024.